So 5 exercises, which even if you only did these 5 exercises, but you did them on a regular basis, it will make a massive difference in your ability to stay uninjured as a runner. The first one, great for opening out your stride and getting you working through an exercise which is kind of like your running gait, kind of like your running stride pattern, because we've got one leg working one way, one leg working the other to open out your angle at the hip, stride angle as we call it. So from here, nice long stance, our split squat or static lunge, whatever you want to call it, starts in a nice strong position where you're centered, you're engaging your core, squeezing your glutes, you're not wobbling around, so you've got control here, and then we just bend both knees. Slow and controlled on the way down. Little touch, we're not taking any weight through the rear knee, and we come back up. So 3, 2, 1 on the way down, 1 on the way back up. Slow, 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 then push through the heel on this side. It'll allow you to engage those hamstrings and glutes a little bit more effectively. Really nice and gentle on the knees, shouldn't be any knee pain. You should feel, if anything, a little bit of, if you're tight through your hip flexors, a little bit of a stretch on the way down through the front of the rear leg. But then after a few reps, you should feel in this front leg, those glutes in particular, bit of quad, maybe a bit of hamstring, but particularly glutes, starting to build a bit of fatigue, because that's really where you're working hard. 3 sets of 15 on each side is a great place to start. Now, from there, we'll take the focus away from the hips. Another area where so many of us runners find a bit of a weak link, particularly as we kind of hit middle age, is our calves. So let's spend a bit of time working on them on a regular basis. This doesn't have to be a balance exercise, by the way. This could be just a focus on those calves. Give yourself something to hold on to. We're simply going to do single leg calf raises. Okay, so you can tuck the other leg behind, come off the edge of a step, up, down, 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 up. It's just the ball of your foot on the step. We're down on 3, 2, 1, up as high as you can. Keep the foot neutral, we're not rolling in, rolling out, and up. Start out doing 3 sets of 10, build up to 3 sets of 25. You should be able to do 3 sets of 25 on each side, single leg calf raises. As runners, we need strong calves. That's a bit of a line in the sand that I use for people to say, if you can't do 3 sets of 25 on each side, full range, without sacrificing range as you get tired, then that needs addressing. Okay, in my experience, if you're unable to do that, chances are there's a weakness there, which might get exposed as you start to push the running volume up, running mileage up, particularly mileage plus intensity. Anyway, that's a different conversation. Next exercise, trying to move through these fairly quickly, is our little lateral step downs. So far, the exercise, our split squats and our single leg calf raises have been very linear, back and forwards movements. This is side to side, so working the frontal plane. Again, we're standing on the step. Okay, we're coming from here. From this position, all I'm going to do is we'll start out up here in this running man position. We're going to reach back, touch down with your heel on the ground next to you, which will force you to get into this slight hip shift. Okay, we want to see a hip drop here, because in pushing yourself back up to this position, you're actually correcting that hip drop and working through glute med, gluteal muscle on the outside of the hip, on this opposite side. So, we're down and up, down and up. Allow yourself to come down, take a little bit of a forward shift as well with your torso. So you just lean forwards to come down so you can touch the ground ever so slightly behind yourself. We work through 3 sets of 15 on each side. Slow and controlled. There we go. This is now, I don't know how many I've done as I've talked through this, but this is now beginning to burn right where I need it to, right through the outside of the hip. If you just look at the pelvis as you do this, it's a shift that way, that way, that way, that way. It's what we see a lot of the time from runners as we're looking at them on the treadmill, looking at them from behind as they're running. This kind of hip drop, this is teaching you to correct that hip drop. Okay, again, it's just a case of building up repetition, and doing it on a regular basis. Make sure you're doing both sides, of course. Now, while we're doing single leg exercises, I want to show you something. So a lot of the time when people do single leg squats, and this is just, I guess I'd say a prop, it's more than a prop, but we're not lifting weights here. A lot of the times people do single leg squats, they'll do a single leg squat and it'll kind of look, as runners, it'll kind of look like this, okay? We're not really doing a lot in terms of getting hip loading, okay? Loading into hip flexion. There's a big difference between the angle which we're loading the hip at here versus what happens if I give my arm something to reach to. If I reach to the top of that dumbbell, which could be the top of a wine bottle, could be anything that kind of height, slow and control with my hands, look at what happens to hip angle here. Back stays straight, hip angle closes up, which we then have to open up as we come back up to the top. And the difference between the angle here that we work through down to the bottom and up to the top again means we actually load those glutes up a lot more. By reaching forward with the hands, we're creating a counterbalance. Butt has to go back, glutes have to be loaded, and boy oh boy, is this harder for those glutes after a set of 10 to 15 than it is if we're just here, which is, I mean, ultimately it's a different exercise. But if someone's giving you single leg squats to do to strengthen your glutes, you better start loading your glutes. So having something to reach towards with your hands, absolute game changer. 3 sets, 10 to 15 each side, give it a go. Now, the last of these exercises, an often neglected muscle group, is actually our hamstrings. We talk about stretching our hamstrings a whole load, but again, like the video I released the other day about the hip flexors, why do we think our hamstrings actually get tight in the first place? A lot of the time, not all the time, but a lot of the time it's weakness. So we're in a glute bridge. A glute bridge, I ask you to bring your heels close to your butt. Push your heels down to the ground, but keep this angle really short because it shuts your hamstrings up, forces you to use your glutes. Conversely, if we're trying to actually strengthen our hamstrings, we can go long lever. This makes it harder, if anything, to use your glutes because the hamstrings are in such a mechanically advantaged position. So here, yes, we're drawing our belly button in, engage your core, squeeze your glutes, but as you come up, your hamstrings will start singing. Okay, they will feel like they're working hard, especially if you're weak. Don't come too high, not looking to overarch through your back, but just pull your heels down into the bench or the chair that your feet are up on, hold for 10 seconds, and come down. Do 10 times 10-second holds. If you're feeling adventurous and you're feeling like that's too easy, we come up, we'll do 5 to 10 seconds on one side, and then 5 to 10 seconds on the other side. That would be the progression. Again, a lot of the time, if we're weak through our hamstrings, that could be contributing factors to multiple different issues. Yes, it can affect the muscle balance around the knee. So if we're looking at runner's knee type issues, tendon type issues around the knees, certainly if there's an imbalance between muscles at the front, muscles at the back, it can have an impact. But also hamstring tendon issues, be it proximal hamstring tendon or hamstring tendons behind the knees. If you're weak through your hamstrings, the tendons will end up suffering because of it. So that kind of work, really great strengthening. So there you have it, 5 exercises which will make a massive difference in your running. Now, if you want to get more consistent with your strength conditioning work, do check out the link down in the description. It's a 7-day free trial to the Bulletproof Runners program, which is all about short, bite-sized, little and often approaches to running injury prevention, running strength conditioning, getting you actually doing these exercises rather than just paying lip service to it when the physio mentions it and then you kind of, we all prefer to run ultimately, so we end up just running. 7-day free trial, 30-day money-back guarantee. You literally have no reason not to do this. Okay, you're watching this video, you know the strength work is important. Let's give it a go. Get you started on the first program. See how it feels just to be consistent for a couple of weeks. I promise you, it will feel completely game-changing for your running. Okay, go check it out. I'll see you over there.